I remember I walked up into St James's and my hands, everything, my whole body just lit up. I've got goosebumps all over my skin.
I get those goosebumps every time you come around, yeah. You ease my mind, you make everything feel fine. Worry about those times, I'm way too numb, yeah. It's way too dumb, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time I need the Heimlich, throw that to the side, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. When you're not around, when you throw that to the side, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. 713 through the 281, yeah, I'm riding. Why they on me? Why they on me? I'm flying, sipping low key. I'm sipping low key and honest, rider, rider. I get those goosebumps every time you come around, yeah. You ease my mind, you make everything feel fine. Worry about those times, I'm way too numb, yeah. It's way too dumb, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time I need the Heimlich, throw that.
What happened to me? Where did I disappear to?
I can see you, Daz. You're just frozen.
Ah, okay. That's a great start.
Yeah.
So give us a second and I'll try and fix that.
Well, good morning, everyone.
I don't want to leave you on your own, Chris, there. So,
no, okay.
Let me see. Let's try this.
You can tell it's a Sunday morning, mate.
That's really weird. Right, we might be doing it like this for a while, Chris. Welcome everyone. No idea why my camera just stopped working before the show, but actually, I'm going to come out and back in. So one sec, Chris.
Go for it, mate.
How about you can talk about the Euros while I'm gone.
Why not? I'll do that. Well, good morning, everyone. I hope everyone is well. Sunday morning, massive game for England later. So we're looking at a match against Spain. I think this is one of the first games actually where Spain are not the favourites. England are not the favourites. It's actually Spain who are the favourites. But yeah, I'm interested to hear what everyone's thinking about this game later. Ian McKenna's in the chat. He's saying, "Apologise in advance for my language, but fucking come on, England." I love that, Ian. He says, "This is the moment. This is the time. Let's go." Plus, I'd really like a bank holiday. Do you know what, Ian? I've been thinking about it myself, mate. The rumours are that we will actually get a bank holiday. So who knows? Who knows? Let's see if that comes to fruition. And then Ian finishes and says, "Come on, England." We've got other "Come on, England." Oh, it's Ian again. Bloody hell, Ian. "Come on, England."
Yeah.
Ian, yes, he's back. He's back.
I'm back. What happened there? It just everything just crashed on me right before we started there, Chris. But how are you?
I'm all right, mate. Yeah, for a Sunday morning, I'm not bad. It's been a busy weekend. Been logged on yesterday. I'm going to be logged on today and work as well. But yeah, but other than that, mate, I'm all good. I was just talking to the viewers at home about England. Ian McKenna's wrote about 400 messages in the chat, so I was going through those. Ian's very excited for the game later, and I was just saying to people, Daz, that I think this is one of the first games where England aren't the favourites. So Spain are favourites to win the game today, outright in 90 minutes. And England's are 5-2 to win, which I thought was quite a big price. So the bookies clearly don't fancy England to win in normal time. But for me personally, I think it wouldn't surprise me at all if it was a draw. I think it'd be a draw, and then there's a possibility, that England can kind of maybe win it in extra time, win it on penalties. Oh, hang on a minute.
They're rubbing all in. Look who's joined us.
Look at this.
Hey, boys. I don't know if you can hear me very well. I don't know how good my Wi-Fi is, but I thought I'd just come on really quickly just to say, hope you're well. Love to you all. Everyone in the chat as well. Make sure, I hope everyone's got their tunes in. Make sure everyone's got their tunes in. If they have or not. There you go. But as you can see, I arrived safely. We're all good. An hour's delay, which we weren't happy about, but we got there in the end. And I'm actually at a swim-up bar right now. I don't know if you can see.
Look at that. Oh, look, is that the brandy? Is that the brandy?
And they got the brandy on there as well. Cheers to you all. But no, yeah, I just thought I'd drop on really quickly. I know for a fact, before I go, I know for a fact that you are going to be celebrating a new signing for Newcastle United this week. It's coming on out. I'm not gonna get into it because you boys are gonna cover it all in this show. But I'm looking forward to hearing what you boys have got to say when that new signing arrives. But yeah, hope you boys are well. Sunday morning, all good.
All good, mate.
All good. A bit of goosebumps or gremlins in the system at the start, but all good, Pete. Chris, do you have a loaded challenge? Maybe a pool-related challenge for Pete? Swim across the pool.
It feels like.
Oh, I can't hear you that well. Sorry.
I can't hear you.
I'm just saying, Pete.
Hold on. I'm gonna put my ear to the phone.
Go on, mate.
Tell me again. Put your ear to the. I'm gonna put my ear to the phone so I can hear.
Okay. Can we get a how'd you like that from someone?
Oh, I think you're gonna struggle. The only reason being, well, hopefully I'll be able to join you at some point this week, and I'll get that in with 110%. The only reason being is that around me there is no one that speaks English right now. So I think it's a pretty impossible task. It's actually, you know what? It's the one thing I'll say about where I am right now. It's so multicultural. There's not that many English around. Although I did see a Leicester shirt this morning, I was absolutely disgusted.
A Leicester shirt?
Disgusted. But no, there's not many English around. However, I'm going to hold you to that, Chris, because I am going to get that. You're going to get that from me before the week's out. 100%.
Brilliant.
I know you're getting a second one as well then. You're getting two because you can plan. You can get a plan on that one. You can have a rearranged, pay off someone for that. How do you like that, Pete? So yeah.
No. As everything loaded mag NUFC, it would be authentic, my friend.
Love it. Pete, can we have a prediction for the match later?
England are going to win our first major trophy since 1966, and I cannot wait. We're going to win. I actually think it will be in normal time. I think it will be England 2, Spain 1. And I'm even going to go one further. I actually think that Jude Bellingham is going to score the winning goal. I think he's going to save his best performance for the final and properly turn up. But come on, England, come on. We're roaring you on, praying for that win. And I cannot wait for it. It's going to be like 10 o'clock here because we're a couple of hours ahead. But I'm really looking forward to it, lads. And I hope you are as well. Apart from Daz, obviously.
But, it'll be a good match.
Yeah, it will. Yeah.
Boys, I'm going to let you get on with the show. I'm going to head off, but I just thought I'd drop in really, really quickly. Love to you boys. You guys are going to smash it. You always do. Absolutely love. And everyone in the chat, love you all to bits. And yeah, we'll be back very, very soon once this break is done. But I'm not going to lie. With the way it is right now, 30, 33, 34 degrees, I might not return to England.
Pete, we've had a suggestion from someone in the chat of something you can do before you leave.
Oh, I like it. Go for it.
What's that?
You need to shout loaded mag NUFC across the pool.
Shout. Okay. Of course it's Lisa. Jesus Christ. You wait, Lisa. I'm going to get you back. Right, I'm going to shout it once. Loaded mag NUFC. There we go.
Higher. Louder.
Make sure you like and subscribe. I get that in there as well. Boys, I'm going to shoot, and I will watch back a little bit later on. Make sure you all like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And boys, love to you both, and I'll speak to you soon.
Take it
Have
easy,
a good
mate.
one.
Have a good time.
Take care, boys. See you later.
Mate.
That was Pete
on
holidays.
It was great. It was great having Pete on, but I must admit that background's depressed
Blue
me a little
sky.
bit. Yeah.
Jesus.
Well, that'll be us in September, won't it? That's not together. But you're away in September, and I'm away in September.
August.
Am I right in saying that? Or were you August?
No,
you're
August. I'm August. You're September. Yeah. So we can't all go at the same time. So we spread it out a bit.
This is it, mate.
But yes, what a start to the show. What a start! And now the other thing, Chris. This is before we even get into any talk about Newcastle. You also seem to need a premium account to stream to X now. So we might have to sort that out. So that's that broke everything down to me. So that's probably why the camera kicked off as well. But anyway, let's get into it. Let's talk a bit of Newcastle. I'm going to bring you kind of through a storyboard things before we even get to transfers. We're going to storyboard out kind of what's been happening the last few days. But as you said earlier in the Euros, we just must mention the member sweepstake as well, where we have our loaded ultras in 9 and Shane Mawson do battle today. Shane Mawson has England and 9 has Spain. So best of luck to both the lads on that. And we're already winners, as we noticed the other day. So yeah, this is the first thing I'm going to talk about is just tomorrow actually. Newcastle head off on their pre-season training camp over to Germany, over to that Adidas headquarters. Some set up there. So best of luck to them on that little trip. There's talk of them playing a behind the doors friendly against Leeds as well while they're over there. I think I heard something like that anyway, but I haven't heard it officially confirmed. Also in the house. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I was going to say Leeds are sponsored by Adidas, aren't they? So maybe that would make sense. I'm sure they're Adidas. I'm sure it is.
I think it could be, yep. So probably does make sense then. But James Bunce in. He's officially. We talked about him the other day as well, the last show, but he is now officially in Newcastle and getting down to work as his work as a performance director. But let's go to the big one. The big news was breaking during the week, and it all became official. And it's all linked to Amanda and Mirdad. So yes, on Friday night, late evening, we had confirmation of all the different statements. But let's step through them and kind of storyboard it, because even for history, nice to look back at this and how did it all go down. Right, first statement came out from Newcastle United on the Twitter and across all socials. Newcastle United today announced that an agreement has been reached to change the club's ownership structure. PIF and Reuben Brothers Sports and Media will together acquire PCP Capital Partners shareholding in the club, and Amanda Staveley will step down from all her positions with Newcastle United. Our sincere thanks to Amanda Staveley and Mirdad Kudusi. Now, when I saw this first, I thought, is that it? That it? After everything they've done, and over the last 3 years and since 2017, trying to get the club, is that it? Just like 3 little paragraphs, 3 sentences. I thought that was kind of poor. I stopped there. Did you get it all in one bang, or did you get that message first, Chris?
No, I like you, Daz. I've seen that message as well, and I must admit, I think by that point we discussed it, hadn't we? We were discussing that they were the rumours. I think because we didn't do a show on Friday, but I think we did our show on Thursday, and we were obviously talking about it, and we'd heard those rumours. But yeah, like you, I was a bit like, oh, is that it? Is that the line firmly drawn under? It was very very formal, wasn't it? It was only, you could argue, it was only a couple of extra sentences than Dan Ashworth's departure. And obviously, if you take into account the consideration between how far stretched the two were, I was quite surprised. It was quite a minimal departure speech.
It was, but there was more to follow, which was good. But because they followed on that with the ownership group, together with CEO Darren Eales and the club's executive team, will continue to build on these foundations for long-term sustainable success for the team and our amazing fans. And we're excited about the future prospects for Newcastle United. And that came from the chairman, Yasser. Keith Downey had a bit more from Yasser. He goes, Amanda and Myrdad will forever have our tremendous thanks and well wishes as they move on to focus on their other business interests. We have achieved so much together since the 2021, including achieving Champions League football in our first full season and stewards of this incredible club. The ownership group, together with CEO Darren Eales and the club's executive team, will continue to build on these foundations for long-term sustainable success for the team and our amazing fans. We're excited about the future prospects for Newcastle, which was linked in then with Amanda's part in the official statement. Newcastle United is such a special, unique club, and being a co-owner of Newcastle United has been an honour. Myrdad and I have loved being part of this club and community, and are extremely proud of the process the club has made. The progress the club has made in recent years. Our ambition has always been aligned to the brilliant fans of this club to create consistently successful teams that regularly compete for major trophies and generate pride across the globe. We are grateful to have played our part in the setting up. In setting the club up for even more future success. We will remain fans for life. So that's kind of the official statements, Chris. It's a bit more than the first one, let's say. But so definitely a line drawn under things. That's it. They're gone. Anything more you want to say there?
No more than what I said on Thursday. Still feels a bit raw. Still a bit upset over it. But I think, like I said on Thursday when we spoke about it, like I'm not surprised. It's just that it's come a little bit sooner than what I expected. I did always expect this. I suppose the best case scenario in my head was going to be that Amanda and Myrdad shares would be bought out, and then maybe they would retain a role at the club. But perhaps that isn't as appealing. And I suppose, really, now I think about it, it would have been very difficult to do, given that they'd be staying on in a pay capacity, but then not having the control that they probably had previously would have been difficult. Because I think it would have been difficult for the new people at the club, and I think it would have been difficult for them as well to be able to try and step aside and not have as much influence as what they've had. I mean, when you think, Daz, on day one, when Amanda, Myrdad, PIF and the Rubens came into town, Amanda and Myrdad basically ran the whole club. They were in charge of everything. Obviously, final decision and stuff would have no doubt been given to PIF and the Rubens as well as Amanda and Myrdad, but the day-to-day running of the club was done solely by Amanda and Myrdad, from what we heard. Jamie Rubin was obviously a big part of that as well, but yeah, I think for them to stay on in any capacity going forward and not have the same flex that they had previously would have been difficult. So it's probably the cleanest and tidiest thing to do by having that break. But yeah, it still doesn't make it any nicer because, like I say, we're used to Amanda and Myrdad being like the face of the club as well as Jamie Rubin. They're the ones that we hear from. They're the ones, who've been sorting out the transfers, all things like that. So yeah, I'm still a little bit sad over it. But the exciting thing is obviously we've been getting new recruits in at board level, and I think that's only going to improve things going forward. And hopefully. We'll see not just improvements on the pitch, but also improvements in terms of how we run the club in the background as well.
Yeah, no, I look thinking it through since we were on the show the last day as well. Yeah, I do get that if they have no skin in the game, let's say, it is hard for them to kind of be kept on in some capacity, and it may cause confusion down the line. So yeah, look at it. It's done. It's done now. But there's more statements to get through because there's a lot of statements on that Friday. So the next one comes from Amanda on kind of her personal Insta. Nothing I write today can ever express my gratitude or describe the debt I owe you all. Your support over the last years has been extraordinary, and no fans deserve success more than you. Being a small part of your precious Newcastle United has been a privilege, and I will cherish the memories at every single moment. Working with Eddie, Jason, and Becky has taught me so much. They are truly world class, and I will miss everyone terribly. Mairdad and I have relished the role we had at the club. We particularly loved working alongside Yasser, our PIF colleagues, and Jamie to create a club that will constantly challenge for Europe and will be capable of winning trophies. I know Piff and the Rubin brothers will continue to be remarkable custodians, and the club will receive the required support over the coming years. So that's Amanda's personal message, followed up by Jamie. Long before we're business partners, Amanda and Mairdad were friends. Our success today is as testament to their tenacity, perseverance, and unwavering dedication. They will undoubtedly be remembered as legends of the club, and I wish them both well. He also goes on to say, the journey to transform Newcastle into a major force that competes at the highest levels continues, and I look forward to continuing this work with PIF in the years to come. There's more. Mairdad also says, I just want to say a thank you to the fans and the city for embracing Amanda and me with such open arms. Your passion and support have made the journey truly unforgettable. You have played such an important role in our lives these last few years, and nothing will take these memories away. Newcastle will always have a special place in our hearts, and we will cherish our time there forever. I'd like to thank Eddie, the coaching staff, the players, and of course our chairman Yasser and the PIF team, Jamie, and the rest of the Rubin family for being such great partners. Finally, I've seen all your messages, and I am so grateful to each and every one of you. I'll always be a supporter and a proud member of the Toon Army. I will love and remember you all forever, and I know the club will keep achieving great things on your amazing support. Amanda and I will be on Loaded Mag in the future, he also adds. Hopefully. You never know. But yeah, some great comments there. And I'll just round this off because there's two more to go, and we can move on. But Keith Downey confirms then the split. It's looking like PIF now have 85% control and stake with the Rubin brothers on 15. Amanda stepped down from her position on the board, and also Newcastle are saying it's part of the long-term plan to develop a club and make it consistently credible competitor both domestically and in Europe. Last one on the comments comes from one of the players, Bruno. Very sad by the news. Thank you both for what you have done for the club. I still don't believe in it. Wishing you all the best for the future, and thank you for once again for pushing me into the club. Always be grateful, Amanda and Mairdad. So that's all the statements, Chris. It's done. It's done. Like Amanda said it herself when the takeover was done. It's done. This is also done. So we move on. And this is the poster I had up during the week as well. Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. Pivotal, really, because it moves us in a new direction now. We've talked before about this is a phase 2. We're moving towards phase 2 now, but this is definitely a phase 2. For me, a bit of the human element of the project has now been removed. It's not as sweet as it once was, but maybe it couldn't be either. Maybe to get to where we need to be, we have to be more ruthless. That word that we were crying for the last 6 months. We've gone on to overdrive and ruthlessness now. And to me, I think as well, I don't think anyone is safe now. I don't think Eddie is he needs to deliver this season. I would say he needs to get top 4 or back into Champions League, maybe top 5, back into the Champions League. Or he's going to be under threat. So everyone is under pressure. And also I think as we've seen with the PSR deadline, no one is untouchable. No one. No. It's all linked to I suppose what Yasser said himself. The focus is to be number 1. That is the ambition. So it's now full drive on for that. But Anthony, you want to say there, Chris? Anthony, your thoughts on the whole debacle now as it's played out?
I don't think so, Daz. No, I mean, as I say, I am still sad over it, but I'm also excited. I'll be honest, I'm excited by it, and the reason I say that is because obviously the shareholdings for the Rubens and Piff, have increased. We've now only got 2 majority owners, and I think going forward for us, that one, I think it makes things easier, and 2, I think it means now, and a few people have said this, that we are firmly in phase 2. We've all spoken about the famous phase 2, and for me now, I think that's going to firmly kick in. I'm excited for the new season, and I'm excited to see what we do in this transfer window, because I think we desperately need at least 2, possibly 3 new recruits, and I'm really positive that we're going to get those as well. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to the remainder of the summer transfer window. Can't wait for the football to be back. Obviously, once the finals played today, it's going to be all eyes firmly on Newcastle United, and that's how I like it most, if I'm honest.
Cool. So we move forward, and what a dream team we have in place to move forward with. And Chris, you shared this one with us. This picture of who we have. We've got Peter Silverson, Paul Mitchell, Darren Eales, Brad Miller, Simon Chapper, and James Bounce. All ready to go. And we have, I suppose, what would Amanda and Mairdad have done really as well, I suppose, apart from being kind of ambassadors. I'm not sure what else they could have been getting involved with then with this strong team in place. But we move forward and back into pre-season. As we said the other day, the lads are back in training, getting ready as they head off to Germany, as we said at the start of the show. Eddie keeping a watchful eye, but keeping an eye on things as well, is these 2 men, Paul Mitchell and James Bounce, ready to go. But yeah, that's it on movements and the shake-up. Let's see what they can do now in the coming season and beyond. But let's talk a bit about transfers then. Because first, like Pete said it in his little opening monologue there, and we've been talking off air as well, and in our chat, thinking there's definitely something going to happen this week. We think definitely, because I also heard rumors of, and I'm sure they have, even if they have Eddie and Paul Mitchell sitting down, having their discussions. I'm sure there's been plenty of discussions, but I've heard talk about 4-hour meetings and blah blah blah, getting their house in order, getting their ducks in a row, and I reckon we're going to tackle it now. But this one, a player we were linked with, the Serbian, there is off to AC Milan, so they're bringing in their replacement for someone that may be coming our direction, is Malik Thaw. So, do you think Chris, Malik Thaw might be the one through the door potentially next week?
It certainly feels that way, Daz. I think out of all the transfer rumours that we've had recently, he's the one, isn't he, that the name just won't go away. Malik Thaw, he's a player that obviously is of interest to Newcastle United. We've played against Malik Thaw, or Malik Thaw's AC Milan, in the Champions League last season. He certainly looks to tick many boxes. He's quick, he's good on the ball. We did an assessment of him, or like a review of him, didn't we, in the last show on Thursday?
Did, yeah.
And he looks exciting. 22 years of age, great age. He looks like the real deal. And I think bringing someone like him in, especially at that age, yes, he'll want first team football, but at the same time, you're not bringing in an experienced 27, 28-year-olds. You're bringing in a 22-year-old who, can be kind of blooded into the team. He doesn't have to come in immediately. And I think, for me, that's probably the perfect type of signing, because I think to drop Fabian Schär would be quite harsh next season. So for me personally, I think it would be a really good signing. The only other one I wanted to bring up, as we're talking about central defenders, is and I tweeted out about it yesterday, funnily enough. I see Forrester interested in Milenkovic, the lad from Fiorentina.
Yes.
I believe he plays for Slovenia. I think I'm right in saying that. I think it's no, is it Slovenia
Is it
or
Serbia?
Slovakia? Serbia. Sorry, it's Serbia.
I don't know.
It's Serbia. Yeah, you're right. It's Serbia. But yeah, he's I think he's 26 years old, and apparently Forest have bid anywhere between 12 and 13 million for him. And I know he's been on our radar previously, but if the player's going for that kind of price, that for me that would be someone I'd be looking at definitely, because you know he looked really, really impressive when I've seen him play, and obviously we've been scouting him for a hell of a long time. So yeah, Milenkovic from Fiorentina, it looks like you know, and apparently I think according to Fab Romano, his agent and Milenkovic have said, you know, that he's keen on the move to England. So have to watch this space on that one.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you've been talking about him on Twitter, right, Chris? And I know we did look at him extensively about 2 years ago, right?
Right.
Yeah, it does look like he's heading towards Forest, right? But I'm just interested in a few of the names that have been popped up in the chat there, so I'll get a picture ready for that because I haven't seen that one myself. But let's move on. We will get there. We'll get there in a second. So yeah, I think as well. I think Malik Tall is potentially coming into us, and he's class. He looks class. 22 years of age as well, so great age, but ticks all the boxes. So let's see how it plays out. If we can get him at a decent price. The other one we mentioned, there's Johnny. I hope he's minding that trophy first. The other one we had mentioned during the week, and we're not going to go into too much detail on it now again, but Jonathan David. Maybe Jonathan David is the one that would rock up this week. As we start to put the feelers out now and put it lodge maybe a bid or two. But yeah, let's watch this space. We also saw as well, and we touched on it, is that Wilson is back in preseason training, so he's back at it again. So whether you imagine Wilson would be out the door if Jonathan David was to come in. One that we didn't get to, I don't think, on Thursday, and was this man, Raphinha. Raphinha, and this kind of tentative links with us and Raphinha. Raphinha's a target for Newcastle. It says Footy Insider 247. Barcelona are willing to let him leave for 60 million euro or more. If that bit like that comes in, says The Athletic. Again, this is Football España, saying that they're Newcastle are considering him as a target, and more confirm. Well, that's 90 million euro. That's a bit of a difference between 90 and 60 million euro there. But yeah, Raphinha. I think he's like 27 or something. Would you take Raphinha at Newcastle?
Mate, I would love Raphinha at Newcastle. I think Raphinha is probably the closest footballer currently playing at the moment to Riyad Mahrez. And I was a huge fan of Riyad Mahrez. You know, I know he's in the Saudi Arabian League at the moment, but fantastic player who's equally comfortable on both feet. And Raphinha would be a great signing. For me personally, I've got to be honest, I'm kind of putting Raphinha to the back of my mind. And the reason I say that is because I think the wages will be too much. I just think his wages at Barcelona will be significant, I would imagine. Probably north of 200 grand a week. I mean, I may be wrong saying that. He did join from Leeds, and he was probably, I imagine he was probably on anywhere between 60 and 80 grand a week at Leeds. So maybe he's only on 150 or 150 grand a week, something like that. But if he's on over 200 grand a week, I think it would be difficult to tempt him to Newcastle, because we'd have to offer him, you know, at least 150, 160, and that would put him on par with Bruno. And I don't think he should be near, you know, the top earners at the club, personally. He'd have to prove himself before that happens. Not saying I wouldn't want him, and not saying that he's an incredibly good player, because I think he is. I feel that we'll probably look elsewhere in terms of value. I mean, we've said, haven't we? I say we, you know, the owners at Eddie Howe have kind of alluded to the fact that going forward, we want to buy players who are going to become superstars, not players who are currently superstars. And it's the same conversation with like Nico Williams. As soon as Nico Williams burst on the scene at this Euros, I thought, that's us not getting him. Like, unfortunately, when you start talking silly transfer prices and silly wages, I think you can rule them out from Newcastle, certainly for the next 3, 4, 5 years, because we're not there yet. You know, we're not a Man City, we're not a Chelsea, we're not a Man United in terms of money and revenue. So we wouldn't be able to offer those ridiculously high wages. And nor would we want to either, I think. So for me, it's looking for like your Anthony Gordons, your Harvey Barneses, who are very, very good players, but they've not quite reached that high level. Because I think as soon as they do, you're taking a massive financial risk, and I just don't think the club would be willing to do that. So for me, I don't think it will be Raphinha. Have you got what about you, Daz? What are your thoughts on Raphinha?
Yeah. Look, I think he's class. I love him at Newcastle. I don't think it's the direction we'll go in either. Like you're saying, Chris. I think we will look for someone who's before that Barcelona move, before they hit their peak, not paying massive sums of money from someone who's at an established club already. So I think that defeats the. What do you need a Paul Mitchell for and all the different dream team we have in place if we're just going to go out and whack down 90 million euros in the other link for Raphinha. So I think it's someone else we will look at rather than him, even though they have the Brazilian connection there as well. So I don't think that one will happen. I'd file it in the 10% chance it would happen. Unless though things are no one knows what's happening now as well. As I've lost Chris, but we'll see how it all plays out. Right, the next one I'm going to go to is I got rid of this comment so we can see is Yilmaz. So yes, this one Pete had on the system from the last day as well. We didn't get to it, but it says here from Graham Bailey, he's caught the eye of Premier League giants Arsenal, Liverpool, and Newcastle during Turkey's Euro 2024 campaign. With a departure from Galatasaray now on the cards this summer. So just doing a bit of Googling on him. I think he's 24 years of age. Can play on the right, predominantly a right winger, but can also play on the left as well. A bit like Gordon, can swap over. So he is a good option. I don't know what price he would be going for. I haven't seen talk of the prices for this chap, but interesting option to keep in mind. We'll see if we get more links on him as time moves on. If Chris comes back, we'll get his thoughts on him as well. Another one I'm going to jump to is an old flame, is Trafford, because Duncan Castles has been talking in his podcast about Trafford again. And I know keepers, we already have 5 keepers. We don't know what's happened with Dubravka, and also the link that we had with Dubravka to Celtic now looks like that one is gone because they've brought in Kasper Schmeichel. So I don't know, maybe Dubravka to Saudi is back on the cards there, but we'll see. But I'm not so sure this one is a runner, even though we did look at him before the whole Euros kicked off as well, and before we brought in the keeper from Forest and John Ruddy as well. So let's see how that one plays out. And I'm going to go to one from that the chat has been talking about here. And I did not see this myself because Toon Talk has said that Fabrizio Romano has been saying that we held talks over a deal for Xavi Simons from PSG. Also backed up there by, I see Craig is also saying it in the chat as well. So an interesting option there, and who had a great Euros. They scored against England as well, didn't he? In the Euros. So I don't know what kind of figure would we be talking about there, but he would be a class acquisition. So we'll see how that one plays out. Let me see. Where are we going next? Let's get some thoughts from the chat. Yes, David just mentioned that one there as well, linking to that. Where now for Dubs, I would say Saudi, unless someone else comes into for him. Kieran asks, we've got Chris back, I think. Maybe. All right, Chris.
Sorry, mate. I don't know what happened there. I don't know what happened. My internet just went off, so apologies for that.
The gremlins in the system. I just ran through a few players while you were out, Chris. And just get your thoughts on then I'll go back. Your thoughts on Xavi Yilmaz, the Turkish lad from Galatasaray. Kind of a right winger, but can also fill in on the left as well, or across that front three. What wouldn't you'd consider?
Yeah, do you know what, mate? I forget which match it was, but obviously it was a Turkey match. But I remember watching him and thinking, do you know what? He looks decent. And I'll be honest, I didn't know much about him. He was the one with the dyed blonde hair, wasn't he? But he was everywhere. He reminded me a little bit of like a young Carlos Tevez, someone who just like was biting at the ankles of the defenders, like he didn't give them a minute. His pressing looked unbelievable. But yeah, he really, really impressed me. I mean, I suppose the only danger is really, unless of course Newcastle have already scouted him and already looked at him, the danger is, we've seen it in the past, clubs going in and buying players who've had a good Euros or a good World Cup. It's always a little bit risky. So I'd hope if we did go for them that Newcastle, weren't just doing it on a whim, which I'm sure they wouldn't be. It's not the ownership model of old. I'd want us to kind of go for the player because we really like them pre-tournament, not just during the tournament. But Yilmaz, he really impressed me. And do you know what? I could see him fitting in really well at Newcastle. He looks like he's got the right attitude. He's got the enthusiasm. And he looks like a player who's got something like a point to prove. That was the impression I got from him. Someone who's really, really keen to kind of do well. And for me, I love players like that. We've seen players like that come in the past, like Craig Bellamy's and stuff like that, who aren't really bothered about making friends. They just want to perform well and do well for the team. So having players like that in the club, for me, it's a no-brainer. But yeah, he impressed me.
Next one I moved on to, Chris, because I covered about three while you were that 2 minutes that you dropped out for was Trafford, because he's brought up again from Castles in his podcast. But I was saying, we already have enough keepers, and it looks like the Dubs to Celtic is running now with Kasper Schmeichel going to Celtic. So maybe Saudi or somewhere for Dubs. Are we going to go back in for Trafford again? I don't think so. I think we have other positions to sort out.
The only way I see us going in for Trafford, and this could be where we meet the sweet spot in terms of the transfer fee. The only way I could see us going for Trafford is if we were to buy him and then loan him immediately back to Burnley. And in that case, we'd get him at a good price. So say, for example, Newcastle weren't willing to spend more than 16 million and say Burnley wanted 22, 23 million. We could go, we'll tell you what, we'll buy him for 16 million and we'll loan him back to you for free for the next season. They may be interested in that. Who knows? And to be honest, yeah, and do you know what does? You're right. It could make sense because I think he probably needs another year of first team football. Yeah. Will he get it in the Championship? Probably. I know the other lads who displaced him at the back end of last season in the Premier League. I think it was Mjorich from memory. I could be wrong saying that. He who knows if he'll move on, but I'd want.
I saw something actually that
first team.
I saw something that he is moving on. I'm not 100% sure, but I did see something about that Burnley keeper is on the move. Was it Ipswich or something like that?
Oh, maybe.
I'm not sure where it was to, but
oh, here we go. Yeah, you're right. Toon Talks just said it does. There you go. Burnley just sold Mjorich. There you go. Good shout.
Yeah. No, I just saw them passing. So that means then that that they're not going to want to lose Trafford, or they have to bring in another keeper in his replacement. And Burnley fans don't seem too happy to hold on to him either. Yeah,
and ironically, if we were to sign him, he would probably need another season of first team football, and where better place to send him than the Championship, at the top end of the Championship as well. So it could work for both parties. It could.
Yeah. Now, this is the one that got my in the chat, and that's why I got the picture. Is Xavi Simons, the Dutch lad from PSV from PSG who goes out on loan to a number of different clubs every season.
Yes.
And the chat is saying that we're in the mix according to Fabrizio Romano.
Yeah, again, it's an interesting one. I mean, Xavi Simons, he scored a really good goal against England, funnily enough, didn't he?
Yeah.
He's a player that we believe has been, there's been interest in him previously. I'll be honest, again, I thought he was kind of a little bit out of reach. He'd been on loan from PSG, and then apparently he doesn't want to return to PSG. I don't think his wages would be that bad, given that he's only a young kid, and I don't think he's on astronomical wages at PSG. So, yeah, I mean, as long as he's not on huge wages and maybe he wants to try his hand in the Premier League, why not? My only concern with Xavi Simons is, to me, and anyone in the chat, if this is wrong, please tell me, he very much looks like a number 10 to me. He's quite lightweight, and he's someone who kind of floats in and around behind the striker. I'm sure he can probably play on the wings, but to me, he strikes me as more of a number 10. And I do question whether he will be able to play like a number 8 role, which is what we need him to do. We've spoken previously, haven't we, about the likes of Morgan Gibbs-White. You could argue he is predominantly a number 10, but we've seen him play in that number 8 role, and we've seen him play on the right wing. Not his favourite positions, granted, but we've seen him play there. But yeah, I mean, I would not say no to Xavi Simons, because I think he's a very, very talented player, and I think he's somebody who would no doubt improve the technical ability within the squad. And I think the likes of Bruno, Isak, etc., would love to play with him, because you can tell that he is a really good player. David H has just said he usually plays left, so that's interesting. If he usually plays left, again, you're having the conversation about Gordon, about Barnes. I mean, we've seen Barnes being linked recently. I don't know if you saw that, Daz. It was in the chat a little bit earlier as well. A very unusual rumour about Harvey Barnes. I don't know if you saw it.
I didn't see that, no.
Yeah, apparently Harvey Barnes has been linked with Barcelona. How true that is, mate? Yeah, apparently so. Apparently so. I don't know how true that is, but apparently Barcelona have been looking at Harvey Barnes. And do you know what, Daz? Let me ask you this question, because we've spoken about it before, but it'd be interesting to get your thoughts on it. Given the uncertainty around Anthony Gordon in recent weeks, if we signed Harvey Barnes, we believe, for around 38 million. If the club were to get their money back on Harvey Barnes, so let's say Barcelona came in and went, we'll give you 45 million for Harvey Barnes, are you taking it?
We did talk about this towards the end of last season.
As things stand right now, and looking at the Gordon situation and looking at the Elliot Anderson situation, as things stand, if Barca, not just Barca, but anybody comes in, 45 million, what do you say?
You know what? I won't answer what I will think first, what I do first, but I'll answer what the club will do. I think the club will do it, because I think now anyone is not anyone like Isak, Bruno, Bosman is if they got a good offer, I think they take it, because in this phase 2, I think they're going to shape everything again. They're going to have a reshuffle a bit and shape things. So if they got a decent offer for Barnes, I think they would definitely consider it. He when he did play first, he did well, especially that goal against West Ham that we got to see, Chris, live. But I don't think what I would personally wouldn't sell him. I think we the best is to come now from Harvey Barnes. He's going to be a good option for us this year. I also don't think Gordon is going anywhere. But I just, if we had to sell Barnes to get a very, very good right winger, then do it as well. I'd have to see the offer and weigh it up and know what else is to come, what I can do with that now. And that's where Paul Mitchell coming in is, how much wiggle room does he have, and does he need to create more wiggle room by this trading? And we're going to have to get very used to trading. Actually, side topic here. I don't know if you've seen this
Oh, yeah.
yet, Chris, but if anyone that hasn't seen it, go check out the Geordie Journals because they did a great show. Liam Kenny did a great show with Kieran Maguire there. It just dropped yesterday. So and he alludes to we're going to have to get used to trading. I think it was mentioned that over 3 seasons we brought in 12 million. So for PSR calculations, we need to start trading, and we're going to. That's where don't get attached to anyone, because anyone could be sold. I think more or less, and now in this new ruthless NUFC. I'll go on another point in a couple of minutes, but go on, Chris.
Oh, sorry, mate. No, I was going to say it's a really good point you've made there. I did watch the video with the Geordie Journos and Kieran Maguire. Really, really good video. So as Daz says, if you haven't seen it, make sure you go watch it. It's a really, really good video with Liam and Kieran. I thought it was really interesting. And you're absolutely right when you say that we can't become attached to our current players, because the way it is, it's very much a cycle. It's very much something that we're going to have to be mindful of going forward. I mean, the only blessing for me personally, and they mentioned Alexander Isak, which I thought was a really good point. And sometimes we as fans forget that when you sign a player for big money, yes, you can sell them on for the profit, absolutely. And in Isak's case, yes, it will be a big profit, but you've also got to take into account the money that's still remaining on the deal that they've signed. So in terms of PSR, the profit's not going to be as big, as what it may first seem. Everton, funnily enough, I was having a conversation with my friend yesterday, my Everton mate, who was delighted. I'm not quite sure why, but he was delighted that they were selling Onana, yeah. And obviously, he was going, 50 million or 55 million in the coffers. And I was like, no. I said, it will be a significant amount of money in the coffers. I said, but you're still going to owe Lille money from when you bought them. And this is the advantage, isn't it, of selling, not that we, promote this or like it, but this is the advantage of selling people like Elliot Anderson, because obviously you've not got that money that you've had to pay for them initially. That's why they call it a pure profit sale. Yeah. Well, this is it, mate. And the problem that Newcastle have had in recent years, particularly since the new owners came in, is the fact that we've had to upgrade the squad, and the money that we're getting in from the players that we're letting go is very, very minimal. With the players we've already spoken about, the likes of Jamal Lewis, Isaac Hayden, Jeff Hendrick, some of them were just releasing. We're not even getting money in for them. So obviously, if you go out and buy a 40-50 million pound player, you're not getting that churn of money. Hopefully, the likes of Callum Wilson, Miggy Almiron, Matty Target, when we sell players like that, Kevin Trippier, we will bring some money in for them when they leave. So that will help, but it won't be significant money, because obviously we're selling them for a reason, and obviously their contracts are coming to an end. Whereas if you were to send a player who's at the very top of the game, who the value is absolutely huge, like a Bruno, like a Gordon, like a Isak, you're gonna get that big chunk of profit, which can then obviously go towards your PSR. But I suppose the double-edged sword is the fact that you don't want to lose those type of players. But going forward, I think we may have to accept or come to the conclusion in our own minds that is something that's going to have to happen, because in order to keep the money coming into Newcastle, and in order to be able to spend, you've got to let go of some players that you don't necessarily want to let go of. And I suppose that's why I asked you the Harvey Barnes question, because we'll still owe a chunk of money on Harvey Barnes, but it will give us that little bit of room to maneuver, and then we can obviously look to bring somebody else in. And not that anyone wants rid of Harvey Barnes, but will the club look at it? And I think you're right in what you said, Baz, in that what we would do versus what the club would do. Because would the club look to reinvest? Maybe we're top heavy on the left hand side. Maybe there's another left winger who we really, really want, and you'd sacrifice Harvey Barnes to be able to bring that player in.
Cool. Yeah. No. I don't believe if I haven't seen that word anywhere about Barnes to Barcelona, so I don't believe any of that. Sorry. Yeah. On that one. You know what? Let us get some questions. But before we do, I'm going to give a shout out to the sponsors. First up, Radiator Shade. Yes, a shout out to Russ at the Radiator Shed. And if you can log on to radiatorshed.com, you'll see all the range and the latest and greatest there from the lads. But if you can also contact Russ at the radiatorshed.com, or the telephone number is 077 666 04112. And just say loan of 20 and you'll get 20% off radiators and all the products that they offer there. Also, shout out to manscaped.com, and we'll put the details at the bottom of the screen in a sec. And to H2O Bathroom Design Co. Go check out the latest and greatest on the website there from H2O. Right, Chris. Before we go into the questions, there's one thing I wanted to say as well. Let me just put that scrolling across the bottom of the screen from Manscaped. With the code LOADED20, you get 20% off all the Manscaped products. So go check that one out. But now with the phase 2, the human element in Amanda Mirdad, I refer to it as that, it's gone. And they were always saying, oh, we're definitely never leaving St. James's Park. Never leaving St. James's Park. Now, I think with the more ruthless side of things, the more business orientated, we need to bring in more cash. We need to bring in more revenue to allow us to spend more on players, to allow us to achieve our aim of to be number one. Do you think a new stadium, it's never gone away, but would you think it'd be more of a possibility now?
Quite possibly, yeah. Yeah, I've been one of those guys where, you know, and not everyone agrees with this, and I get that everyone's got different opinions. I am one of those who's always thought that like us moving to a new stadium's inevitable. It's not that I want to leave St. James's Park, but I just think, you know, this modern day and age, I think the club want Newcastle to be the biggest and best that it can be. St. James's Park is historic. I don't look at St. James's Park and think, oh, I can't wait to move to a new stadium. But I think as long as it's done correctly, and as long as they, you know, try and keep the history, keep it in the city. You know, the new stadium. I do think it will be a move forward, a step forward. You know, times change, and people don't like that. And people obviously have got some fantastic memories of St. James's Park. I have myself. Obviously, I'm not a season ticket holder, so I'm not there every other week. But you know, I just think as soon as we were to build a new stadium, and let's not forget, money, there would be no expense spared. It would be the best stadium in the country, bar none. And that excites me. I'll be honest, it really does, because and I think with the ownership that we have, and you know how clever and creative they are, I think it would actually be, you know, I think a lot of fans would really, really like it and really, really enjoy it, because I don't think St. James's Park will be cast to one side and forgotten about. I think a lot of things would be brought from St. James's Park. You know, there'd be a lot of history that would come into the new stadium. And for me, I just think having a state-of-the-art modern stadium, it's only going to help attracting players and stuff like that. And, you know, our growth and our expansion is just going to go bigger and bigger. Me personally, I think it's going to be something that will probably happen in the next 3 to 5 years. I think if we were to win a trophy and consistently start qualifying for Europe every year, I think the owners would be very, very interested in building a new stadium. Because for me, we've seen it with Man City and you know, their owners, the fact that they want to. From what I've seen and what I've heard, they want Newcastle. They want to build the whole of Newcastle, not just Newcastle United. They want to build the city, and what better way to do that than to put a state-of-the-art stadium in there? So for me, I think it is on the horizon. I think it will happen. Probably won't happen in the next, you know, as I say, 2-3 years. But I think after that, I think it's when we win a trophy. I think they'll go, do you know what? We're starting to hit the big time now. Let's really kick it up a notch. And like I say, there'll be a lot of people who are unhappy about that, and people who don't want to move from St. James's Park. But, you know, for me personally, I just think to have this brand new state-of-the-art stadium would just be incredible. I mean, I've been to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, Daz, and it's class.
Yeah,
it's absolutely class. It's something to be proud of. And you know, you're walking up to the stadium, and you're just like, wow, this is unreal. And And I think as long as, like I said before, as long as they retain a little bit of history, as long as they retain, certain elements of St James's Park, I think if they do it in the right way, it could be fantastic. I really do.
I think if they want to do it, they'll just do it. They won't care now at this stage. Ruthless. Right, and the client asked the question, do stadium building improvements costs have a PSR impact on any losses, or are they ring-fenced? So yeah, as far as I know, they have no impact on PSR. You can do whatever you want with your stadium, and with the women's team as well has no impact on PSR either. As a few more things, but so any kind of infrastructure costs like that are not part of it. Any questions that you want to go to, Chris, from the chat?
Let's have a quick look. Well, I want to give a couple of shout outs if I can, Daz. Neil Calvert has just become a loaded ultra.
Right, Neil.
So, well done, mate.
He's
Thank
back.
you so much.
He's back.
He's back.
Right, Neil.
He's back. Yeah, no, it's really, really good. And obviously we're going to have that. Well, we've got our member prize after the Euro final tonight, so we'll get that distributed. So we'll sort that out. But we need to do a loaded members draw as well. So we'll have to look to do that before July's out. We'll have to look to do that. And Truls has been a member for 25 months, so over 2 years. So thank you for that, Truls. And Truls says, "I hope you're getting Bolo and not DCL." It's a very good point. It's a very good point. Yeah.
No, I'd agree on that one. Anyone but DCL.
Anyone but DCL, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, let's have a little look at some questions. I did actually see a question for you, Daz, which I was interested to get your thoughts on. And you've got to be honest.
Kieran.
You've got to be honest.
Kieran.
Who are you up for tonight, Daz?
I'm up for football is the winner. Football is the winner tonight, Chris. I don't know who I'm up for today, as in because look, for you guys, I'd like an end of viewers, most of you, especially Ian in the chat, who was going mental, and watching us to just talk about England. We thought we'd give an alternative topic than you, because you people would be drove mad with Euro talk today. But I can give another alternative talk. I'm up for Galway. Galway are playing Donegal in the semi-final of the All-Ireland, the Sam Maguire today at Croke Park at 4:00. So I'm up for Galway and hopefully get into the final of that one against Armagh. So that's what I'm up for tonight, Kieran, if that answers your question. But no, okay, it will be a good game, I think. For the lads' sake on the channel, for Pete and Chris, and for most of you guys in the chat, but maybe not the Spanish mags, but it'd be good for you guys. And of course, you wouldn't. Most people in the chat won't have seen England win anything in their lifetime, and most of the rest of us will have to listen to them talking about it for the rest of their lifetime. So if they do win, so let's see how it plays out.
Yeah. Interestingly, Toon Talk asks, I know we're slightly veering over to England here, but we are still keeping it Trippier focused. Rumours Trippier's going to start. Your thoughts? So Toon Talk, I'll be honest, from what I saw with the last game, I thought England looked better balanced when Luke Shaw came on the pitch. We know Kieran Trippier is not really a left back. He can fill in a left back, obviously, and he does it very, very well, I've no doubt. For me personally, I think Gareth Southgate will start Kieran Trippier if he's fit, but I think he should start Luke Shaw because I think he offers better balance on that left-hand side. But Daz, do you think Trippier will start left back if he's fit, or do you think Gareth Southgate will now bring in Luke Shaw, albeit he's not started a game yet this Euro tournament? Is it a risk to start him in the final?
Yeah, look, I've watched all the England games, and Luke Shaw they do look more attacking as well when Shaw comes on. Like we've talked about Trippier all through the season, a bit of a decline. His head has gone at different points. I'm sure he'd be up for the final. Of course he would. I don't know. I imagine he'll start. Look, Gareth Southgate doesn't tinker with things much. He'll probably start trips, but bring Shaw on somewhere through the game. So yeah, I think that's what he will do, really.
We've got a great question here from... Yeah. No, I agree, mate. I completely agree. But no, we've got a more. He will start trips, but should be good. Yeah, I mean Anthony Gordon. I hope Anthony Gordon gets on the pitch tonight. I have a feeling he may not, but the one positive is from the last game against Holland. We saw Ollie Watkins come on and make a huge difference, and Ollie Watkins has barely kicked the ball. So who knows? Maybe Gareth Southgate might be like, do you know what? Let's throw Anthony Gordon on.
We've put a contrast in the chat because Ian, who's talking nothing but England, and we've got Jason, who's saying, I didn't get up at 10 o'clock to talk about England.
Mate, do you know what, Jason? I'll be honest. I'm kind of on your side of the fence. Like I've been very, very vocal and very, public about this. Like I'm not the biggest England fan. I never have been. Well, I say I never have been. That's a lie. England in Euro '96 for me, I was like ultimate England fan. World Cup '98, France '98, I believe it was. Early 2000s, 2002, when Wayne Rooney burst onto the scene. Obviously, we did Everton player, but we local lads. Like for me, that was huge. Like when I was a kid, I think I must have only been about 14, 16 then at the time. And then all of a sudden, I just switched off from it. Whether that's because I'm from Liverpool, and obviously you most of you probably know, like Liverpool aren't huge. People from Liverpool aren't huge fans of England. So whether or not it's just that culture I've been involved in, I don't know. But it's something. It was like a switch had turned. But we talk about England, and obviously I know there's a lot of passionate England fans. We've got Pete on the channel, who's a huge England fan. So I like football. I love talking about football. So I will be watching the game later, and I do hope England win. I don't wish that they don't or anything like that. I just don't. I'm not going to lose any sleep if we don't win, put it that way. And I'm just really looking forward to my club football. So I'm probably more on Daz's side than I am on Pete's side, which sounds odd, even though I'm English.
Hey, Foxy knows. Vamos Galway, my granddad's team. I like it. I like it, Foxy.
Vamos. I love that.
Catch on.
That. Yeah, it could.
See Bruno said that.
I love this question from Craig Lee, and I don't think it's something we spoke about actually, Daz. But Craig Lee says, "Are the away strips being held back for a signing of a training kit sponsor?" What do you think?
Yeah, we did. Craig was asking the same question, and we did tackle Craig on the last night. Or maybe you had gone off actually, Chris, at that stage. I know you had to go, but yeah, I was saying, what is the story like? Well, by this stage, we want to see the second and third kid out there now as well. I would. And then I was thinking, okay, you could held back for a signing, but I would imagine maybe it's been held back for the team are going to be in Adidas, going to be at the headquarters. So that could be like they could do something really special there. You think with Adidas branded everywhere, you could. Who knows what they'll come up with, and especially like the second kit is going to be. We know the colors already. It's going to be like a throwback to the away kit from '96, 95, 96. So, I'm expecting something special on the announcement for the away kit. Should be good.
Yeah. I can't
wait. It'll happen this week then, if that's the case, because they're over there from the 15th to the 19th. So it's next week. I think it's as you said before. It's going to be a massive week.
I think. Do you know what? I completely agree. I think this week is going to be a massive week. I don't know what it is. Whether it's the rumours hotting up, I don't know. Whether the Euro's finishing. I just feel like this week's going to be significant, and I do think. I mean, Kevin Byrne says it here, and I agree. I think we'll see a signing or two next week. What do you think? I completely agree with you. I think at least one comes through the door next week. We're hearing loads of rumours that we're not too far away with a particular player. Who that player is, we don't know. You would guess based on all the rumours that are going around, it's Malik Four, but who knows? I mean, it could be someone else. We all know we desperately need a right winger. We all know that we're looking at a right centre back. We do want another striker in, whether that's in addition to Callum Wilson or whether that's to replace Callum Wilson. But the key one for me as well, which no one's really talking about, the key one for me is also central midfield. We had a group of players there, and Elliot Anderson was a part of that. And now Elliot Anderson's gone. Is there a space? Is there a space for someone to come in? A Morgan Gibbs-White. I think people are forgetting about this central midfield role because the group of players that we had last season, yes, Joe Linton was missing for a large period. Sandro Tonali missed the whole part of the season. So Eddie and his team might go, do you know what? We're all right. We're fully stocked in central midfield. We've got Alfie Harrison coming through. Joe White's been on the fringes, so they might just go, do you know what, let's just leave it. Or are they going to go, actually, you know what, Lewis Miley's been ruled out for a few months. Are we going to go in and try and bring in, you know, that player who could maybe play central midfield and wing, or central midfield and possibly right centre back? You know, you do see players, don't you, who can play like in the number 6 role and who can also play centre back. Just don't know. And this is the exciting thing, Naz. Do you think next week's going to be a biggie?
Oh yeah, I think what a bad time to go on holiday. What were you thinking, Pete?
What was he thinking? What was he thinking?
Can I jump in and go to this question from Chris O'Neill, because I thought this was interesting myself. Again, I'll link it back to the Geordie Journals chat with Kieran McGuire yesterday. He says the guy who won the Bosman ruling is taking UEFA to court over transfers, and if successful, they could lift all transfer restrictions. Yeah, I heard Kieran mention that. That'd be game on for us. We'd never have to worry about PSR and stuff ever again, and that would be game changer, big time. We said the same thing about if the Man City case yielded something. We don't know what that has done or hasn't done yet. So, but it's very interesting, Chris O'Neill, and it's a very good point. Sorry, back to where you wanted to go to next, Chris.
Oh, mate, no, I think it's a really, it's important you brought that up, Daz. I mean, just imagine, not just you know, the fact that we'd have the flex you're able to sign, but it's also the fact that we've brought in the people we've brought in recently, the likes of Paul Mitchell. Imagine saying to Paul Mitchell, by the way, Paul, money's now no longer an object, so who do you reckon we go for? Like, imagine some of the names he'd have on that list, whereas previously we'd have gone, ooh, got to be careful over the, you know, how much he spends, got to be careful over the wages, and he just went, just go and get him, he's brilliant. He'll probably cost you 80 million, and he's probably on about 200 grand a week, but go and get him because he's brilliant.
Imagine our shows.
Oh, mate, imagine.
Yeah.
Very, very exciting. Very, very exciting. But yeah, I also want to give a big shout out to Gary D. He's been a member for 29 months. It's getting even bigger. Gary, thank you very much, mate. 2 years, 5 months? Brilliant. Thank you so much, mate.
Well done.
How long does Eddie have if it's not going well? Good question. Daz?
I think he gets the season. But again, it's ruthless. Phase 2, ruthlessness. I do think he gets the season. If we don't get Champions League, or if it's mathematically impossible, we don't get Champions League, like we're down lavishing in around 10th, 9th, 10th towards the end of the season, I'd say he's gone.
Yeah,
gone, definitely gone. If we're in those kind of positions, around mid-table.
Yeah, I mean, we were. It brought a few interesting comments, didn't it, when we were talking about Eddie Howe having to get Champions League, the back end of last season, obviously, when we had the disappointment of missing out on Europe altogether. For me, I just think, I genuinely think Eddie Howe is going to struggle to stay at Newcastle if we don't get Champions League. And I know that sounds harsh, but I genuinely believe it. We've had the taste of it. We've missed out on Europe this season. I think next season, the owners are going to be saying to him, we want top 4. And some people don't like this. Some people have said, oh, you know, you're putting 2 and 2 together. But I do think it is a factor that Mandy and Mehrdad aren't here anymore, because they were his biggest supporters. And I think, you know, if the likes of Paul Mitchell's coming in, you know, Eddie's lost his 2 biggest fans, if you like, in Mandy and Mehrdad. I think, like you say, Daz, it will become ruthless. And it will be more a case of, right, let's look at results. Let's look at where we are as a club, where we want to be, where are we going forward. And if Eddie Howe isn't producing on the pitch, or, you know, the players aren't producing it for Eddie Howe on the pitch, I think his position gets put under a lot of scrutiny. I think minimum requirement this season, bare minimum, has got to be the Europa League. Bare minimum. We can't be talking conference next season, given the fact that we haven't got any European involvement, and no doubt we're probably going to spend over 100 million this window. There's no way they're going to accept Europa Conference. Europa League, I think they'd reluctantly accept it, and it might give Eddie a little bit more time, should we say? But if we don't win a trophy next season, or at least qualify for the Champions League, I do think his position will be under scrutiny. Because let's not forget, as we had a lot of injuries last season, imagine this season we don't have that many injuries and we don't do that as a minimum. I think the owners will start looking and going, hang on a minute, we really need to up it a gear here, especially if we want to keep hold of the likes of Isaac, Bruno, Gordon, Botman, etc. Because and Tonali even, he's going to be going, hang on, this isn't what you sold me,
I didn't sit doing nothing, twiddling my thumbs for a year to not be in the Champions League the year after. Well, he's the one that owes us, actually, Tonali. But I just thought of something there, Chris, as I look to Twitter and I see Pete posting pictures of blue skies and videos of him by the pool. So I think we give this one to Pete from John Norton. He says, if England win, zebra dance. Pete hates the zebra. He used to do the zebra dance.
Yeah. I think so, mate. I think so. I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind the zebra again. I did like the zebra. Not so much the back and singing, but the zebra. I did like the zebra. Yeah. It's been a while. Right. It's been a while. It's like takeover vibes, isn't it? Takeover vibes.
Yeah, the good times. The good times. Where to next? We're going to soon wrap up, actually. But anything else you want to touch on?
Ali B says Southampton want Dubravka, apparently, which is interesting.
They can have him.
Yeah. I mean, can we include them as part of the Fraser deal? Who knows? That wouldn't be such a bad thing. But be interesting to see how much we get for Dubravka. It's open to interpretation, isn't it? Because to us, we're a bit like, take 2 million, 3 million. But then you could argue, he played a vast majority of games for Newcastle last season. There was a big amount of games he played in the Premier League for Newcastle last season, and he was Slovakia's #1 keeper. So you could argue he could be worth a little bit more. I think, is Dubravka 32, I want to say?
I think he's going to be older than that.
Is he older than 32?
Let me see. 35.
35. Wow, I didn't. Okay.
36 in January.
Yeah, so that's quite a significant drop off there. Maybe I'm thinking Nick Pope's 32. Must be getting mixed up. Nick Pope's probably around that age. But 35. Wow. Okay, so obviously it can't be a significant fee then. And this will probably be his last big deal, I'd imagine. Because if he signs a 2-3 year deal somewhere, he'd be 38 then, and then he's in the John Ruddy territory, isn't he? So he's probably got a couple of years left, 2-3 max maybe at the top level.
Pope is 32. Let me just bring up Tom's point here, because I saw it coming up in the chat earlier, but I haven't seen any mention online. But we did talk about Xavi Simons earlier, but I didn't hear anything about Serge Gnabry. Must be linked to him. Is this the new round of names that we talked about that are coming now with the kind of switch over a bit? Who knows?
Quite possibly. Yeah, I mean, so the first place I saw it was earlier on in the show. Someone put it in the chat, but I've not seen it on X or any media outlets. But yeah, Serge Gnabry, he'd be a great signing, mate, and predominantly, from what I know, a right winger. Again, you could argue that the wages could be an issue, but I'm thinking about where Serge Gnabry came from in terms of, I'm sure, I could be wrong, but I'm sure that he was initially at West Brom, wasn't he? And then obviously, I think he got to move somewhere, then got to move to Bayern. I don't think he moved straight from Bayern to West Brom. From West Brom to Bayern from memory. So I can't imagine his wages are going to be silly big. But yeah, great player. He would be a really good signing for us if we could get him. But yeah, interesting one. I think we're going to be linked to more right wingers. 29. Oh,
I didn't realize he was 29. Jesus.
Yeah, not a great age. But you know what? I suppose we've said this before, Daz. We can't go out and just buy 22, 23-year-olds all the time. We just can't do it. There'll be some times where we've got to get a more senior player in. Someone who's experienced, someone who's a leader, someone who knows how to win. And I know that sounds really cliche and really stupid, but if you've got winners in your squad, it makes a difference. Players who are used to winning week in, week out. And yes, 29 isn't a great age, but sometimes you need a bit of balance. And if you could get Serge Gnabry on a reasonable, deal, he'd do a job for 2 or 3 years, 100%.
Cool. Look, Chris, I think we'll bring it to a close on the questions. Or we'll be here all day. And Ian had missed the match. We couldn't have that.
Yeah, on about. No. Don't forget as well, Daz, which I completely forgot about. And again, this is something I've come away from a little bit, and I used to watch it all the time. I've realised yesterday it's the Wimbledon final today, isn't it?
Oh, for the men's, the women's is just isn't it?
Men's final for Wimbledon. Again, something I used to watch all the time. You know, when Ivanisevic was there with the incredible serve. Yeah. I used to watch the tennis all the time, but then I just kind of fell away from it. But yeah, so anybody who's after the sports afternoon, get that on as well.
Yeah, I used to watch it back in the days of Steffi Graf and John McEnroe, Stefan Effenberg, Boris Becker. I'm showing their age now. And then someone else in the chat's probably saying, I didn't get up at 10 o'clock to hear talk about tennis.
I'm talking about tennis. Yeah.
Right, we'll leave it there. Cheers to Pete for joining us as well on his holidays and then rubbing it in with posting pictures on X. But make sure you smash that like button on the way out. Enjoy the game later on. Best luck to everyone involved. And that's it, Chris. We will be back during the week. I suspect with the signing in tow. But
I'm pretty confident. I think we will. I think we will, Daz. I think we will.
Right. Have a good day, everyone. Not night. How'd you like that? Good day. How you like